welcome back to my channel. My name is Skylar. If you're new here, welcome. So it's Mental Health Monday and it's also Suicide Awareness Month. So today's week's topic is going to be ADHD and things that people with ADHD struggle with on a daily basis. Now, I just want to say that the suicide rates for people with ADHD are 5 times higher than people without ADHD. People with ADHD are 5 times more likely to take their own lives than the people without ADHD. ADHD is a diagnosable condition.
And it's not a joke. It's
not everyone has ADHD just because you lose focus here and there, or you can't keep track of a conversation that doesn't interest you. There's a lot more to ADHD, and it really does affect those who have it on a daily basis. So in this video, I'm just going to be sharing
some of
the things that I deal with on a daily basis, and I will definitely probably do a part 2. I have a video on my channel about how untreated ADHD can lead to anxiety and depression. I currently do not treat my ADHD, even though I have tried Adderall a few times before. I just don't have my own prescription right now. For me, Adderall does help, but it's not something I'm currently on. So I do deal with my ADHD naturally. If this video is all over the place, you know why. So one thing that people with ADHD have to deal with that other people don't have to deal with is the fact that we have racing thoughts. We can't even describe exactly how it feels because it feels so normal to us, but not normal at the same time because it's something we've always had to live with. But the racing thoughts. As someone who meditates, and I can say meditation definitely does help a lot, but for someone with ADHD, it's even harder to remember to meditate. And so it's like for an average person who has, racing thoughts, it's a lot easier for them to find things that are going to help those for long term. For us, it's like even if we have a to-do list that includes meditation on it and all this stuff, the fact is, like, the chances are we're going to forget to do it. And I'm pretty sure I just went on to 2 different topics and conjoined them as if they were one. And that's also a thing with ADHD is I'm talking about 2 things right now and I don't even know which one I'm talking about, if they're supposed to be talked about together or if I just messed up the order. With that being said, one of the first things that people with ADHD struggle with is racing thoughts, having a lot of thoughts at one time and not really being able to follow one all the way through. Now, this is very hard, especially when we are just trying to communicate with people around us, because no matter how hard we have trained ourselves to be present and to be there, our brains are not always working with us when with our hearts the way we want to be. We can be sitting there thinking about how we want to be present, but then our mind just starts thinking about all the times that we were never present. And then it's thinking about, wait, am I actually present right now? Wait, is this person? Or wait, why is it called present? And then you start thinking about presence. And then you realize that you've been having this conversation, but you just had 20 million different conversations with yourself, and you don't even remember what the conversation is about. And then you hop back into the conversation and you say something, and then you wonder if what you just said out loud was what you meant to say, or if you accidentally mixed something in with one of the thoughts, but then you don't want to ask about it because you don't want them to know that you were not just thinking about what they were saying. So then you just let it go, but then you wonder, oh wait, how did this moment actually play out? I just already forgot it. So now a normal person watching this right now is probably like, what? And then a person with ADHD is probably like, oh my God.
She gets me.
One of the biggest things that people with ADHD have to deal with is forgetting things. Now, this is one of the biggest struggles in my life, and it's literally forgetting to do everything. It's like you make your way through the whole day and you're like, why is my stomach growling? Why do I feel like I'm gonna pass out? And then you realize, oh wait, I haven't ate anything today. And then you get distracted, and 2 hours later you still haven't ate anything. And then you eat something, and then the next day it happens again. And then you wonder why you're losing weight, even though your goal right now is to actually gain weight, because you want to gain muscle. But then you realize that you're not even remembering to put nutrients into your body. You're not remembering to get the exercise you need. But then you go and hyper focus on exercise, and you exercise and you exercise, but you're still forgetting to eat and put nutrients in your body. So then you're just
double hurting yourself.
But then physical activity is one of the only things that brings you dopamine. And I could go into that whole cycle all in all in a whole separate video, honestly. ADHD
and food.
But forgetting things is something that we have to deal with every single day. Whether it's forgetting to eat, forgetting to do all the goals we have set out for the week. We can have 17 goals for the week, but we only accomplish 2 because every single day we're forgetting to do the one thing we need to do, the second thing we need to do, the third thing we need to do, because then we're getting so stuck in our racing thoughts that we stare at a wall or we diddle our thumbs on our screen or do whatever activity you enjoy doing that doesn't actually bring you joy, but that just, raises your dopamine and gets you through the day. And dopamine, that's another thing that we have to deal with. Our brains naturally have less dopamine than other people's brains, and we're naturally fiends for dopamine, meaning we're going to be participating in actions and habits that aren't necessarily healthy for us, but that are just a quick fix and, get us feeling okay. And that includes cigarettes, alcohol, I was going to say tobacco, weed, everything that we shouldn't be doing. Those things are going to be one of the only things that can mellow us out and give us the dopamine we need to make us feel like we're human, like we're okay. And that leads me to another big thing that people with ADHD have to deal with, and that's addiction. People with ADHD have really high addictive tendencies, and it's because, the dopamine. We need that dopamine, and it's easier to get dopamine from things that are addictive than it is to get dopamine from doing the things that, bring us success, bring us joy, bring us progress. Doing those things is so much harder than just falling into getting addicted into something that's going to make us feel okay. Doing everything right is going to make us feel okay, but doing everything right is so hard for us. It's harder than the average person, It's really, really difficult. We actually try harder than the average person just to get by in our daily lives. We try so hard
just to float.
And then that brings me into our goals. People with ADHD, we're very creative people. With that dopamine, that need for dopamine, we really don't want to get stuck doing something we don't enjoy. So we usually tend to have goals and desires that we go after. But even though we want to go after those, the drive we need to get started on activities is actually one of the hardest things for us to deal with. Getting started, even though it's something that we love doing that will bring us joy, getting started on things is so hard for us. It's so hard. But it's like all we have. because if we don't go after what we love, we're not going to feel okay. We're just going to continue chasing after things, unhealthy things, and that's going to lead to negative paths. So it's really, really hard for the ADHD mind to just prioritize and to actually focus on what's important. And then that brings us into hyper-focusing, where we'll hyper-focus on one area of our life while we let everything in all the other areas slack. This week, we're all about self-care and yay, facials, you know, good old baths, flossing our teeth, nails, you know, meditating, yoga. But then no content is made. We're all alone for the week. Then other weeks, it's like, you know, we forget about self-care for a week. We don't shower for 4 days. And we're doing who knows what. We can't even remember 4 days because they went by like that. And the constant feeling of needing to be moving. So when we're sitting, we feel so anxious. The leg shaking thing, that's always been there. But like the feeling tense, the feeling of needing to move your whole body. It's so hard for people with ADHD to genuinely relax. Even when we are relaxing, we're usually catching up on self-care, forcing ourselves to relax so that we feel productive for relaxing. Because when we are actually relaxing, we're usually making ourselves feel bad because we feel like we're wasting our time and we're doing things that aren't necessarily actually relaxing but really just toxic, like scrolling, like I mentioned before. Relationships are a really hard thing for ADHD. It plays hand in hand with the forgetting things. We genuinely forget to reach out to people. Especially once I started getting into social media and all that, I realized how bad the ADHD is, because there's connections with people I'll make that are important, but I can't even remember their names. And so if it's not like set in stone, I don't save numbers. So when a phone is replaced, all those numbers are gone. But like, there's so many connections and things that could have happened that don't, because I don't remember to reach back out. I don't remember to reply. I just get very overwhelmed very easily. This brings me into another thing, and that is sleeping. Something like people with ADHD, and this also ties in with the addiction. I personally have a very, very big addiction to weed, and that's because we can't sleep. Our minds don't go to bed, and we will be up forever if we don't smoke enough weed and or meditate enough. And it's just so hard for us to live a normal life as easy as other people can. If I were to stop smoking weed tonight, I'd have to meditate so hard. I still probably wouldn't be able to go to bed. There's so much to ADHD. There's so much. But it's hard to get to sleep. It's hard to wake up. It's the anxiety that comes along with ADHD is so intense that even when everything is going okay and everything, you're just scared. You feel on edge that at any moment everything could fall apart, because there's so many times in your life where everything has. And then you have to really accept that a lot of the times things fall apart in your life or because of you and the way you are. But then the way you are isn't even really who you are. A lot of it is the ADHD. A lot of it is your habits, the things that you wish you could just change. You know that your life would be better if you stopped doing this, if you stopped acting like this. But it's like, that's literally a part of you. It's a part of your mind. There's no changing it unless you go and take the pills. There's no changing it unless you change yourself. But that's why I'm very grateful that, I'm accepting of my ADHD, and that I'm always open to learning more about it and connecting with other people, and not using ADHD as an excuse for things, but really using it as something that you can work with, and to understand that, this is why I do this, but this is what I can do to make things easier And yeah, I definitely do want to do an updated tips video on ADHD. I do think I should do a video like acting out different scenarios that people with ADHD have to deal with. I also want to do like a little ADHD documentary. But this video, I just wanted to sit here and vent. I just want to talk about my ADHD and also let anyone watching this know who also is dealing with it that you're not alone. You're really not. There's so many other people just like you, and we're all doing really great things, and you're doing great no matter what fallbacks, what setbacks you have, no matter how fast or slow your progress. You really are doing great. Also, everybody watching this, please, 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 if you ever are feeling suicidal, especially due to your ADHD, reach out to me on Instagram or leave a comment below and I'll try to get back to it. But like I said, the reason why I'm making this video is because 1 in 5 people with ADHD kill themselves. People with ADHD are 5 times more likely to kill themselves than people without ADHD. And I myself have been so close to suicide so many times, and I probably never even realized that half the reasons were related to my underlying condition, which is ADHD. And so I hope this video helped you in some sort of way. Please give it a like and a comment, share it with one of your friends, turn on the post notifications if you'd like to be notified whenever I release a new video. And with that being said, I hope everyone is staying safe and healthy, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye. Also, leave a comment down below on what resonated with you the most. Which one of these things that you deal with the most on a daily basis, and then maybe a little piece of advice for other people in the comments to deal with it as well. Bye.